Welcome to this episode of Caked. I'm Asma and today I'm going to be making a sugar skull cake in honor of the new Pixar Disney movie Coco. I'm actually really excited to see this movie. I heard it got really good reviews. This movie is based on the Mexican holiday El Día de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead. I hope I pronounced that correctly, sorry if I didn't. This holiday is about remembrance of the deceased and celebrating their loved ones who have passed in a more joyful way. On November 1st is remembrance of children and November 2nd is the remembrance of adults. And these rituals have been going on for over 3,000 years. Now for this cake, I actually cheated a little bit and used the skull pan from Wilton, which is great because I have the front and the back and I didn't have to carve out anything, which is awesome. And now that I look at it, I think you could actually even use this to make a real face on a cake and actually just fill in the holes with like a mouth and eyes and nose, and you have the full straight face structure already there. Maybe I'll try that. Thanks, Wilton. I split my batter into 4 bowls and made the inside of this cake marble of pink, purple, green, and yellow, just to make sure that the inside is as fun as the outside. When the cake is done baking, I put it in the freezer overnight so that the cake was more stiff and easier to work with, especially when you have so many little indents in the cake that you don't want it too fragile. I then cut off the overflow of the cake. You can do this directly from the pan as well. I then iced the inside of the cake with white Swiss meringue buttercream and gave the cake a crumb coat. Now honestly, I had no patience for this. I was using a spatula and I couldn't get into all the little indents. So I just put on some gloves and went at it, and it was so much easier. I just put icing all over and filled in all the gaps with my hands. Honestly, sometimes it's just easier to use your hands. And then don't forget to put it in the fridge to cool. I used my fondant mat to help me cover this cake in fondant. Roll out the fondant between the 2 mats, take one side of the mat off, and drape the fondant over the cake. Peel back the mat slowly, letting the fondant take itself off the mat. You'll have to work quickly here, getting all the indents as quickly as possible with your fingers before drying out the fondant, which actually started to happen to me a little bit. My bad, I was too distracted watching TV. For this cake, it's not too big of a worry because you'll be covering all of it up with decorations anyway. I used my ball tool to help me get all the creases in the eyes, the cheekbones, and the mouth, just to enhance the skull features a bit. For the black eyes, nose, and mouth, I used black edible paint and a paintbrush to paint it all in as best as I could. I just made this up as I went along. You could do any pattern that you wish. You could also use a black edible marker or black luster dust mixed with an extract as well instead of edible paint. Now I'm not gonna lie, the next part actually takes much longer than you'd actually think. All these little decorations took a long time, way longer than I actually expected. I have all these mats here from Wilton that I got over the last few years. They just have a lot of random shapes on it, and they're actually very handy when you need to just use random shapes like a cake like today. And for this one, I think I mostly used this one here, which has little paisleys and squigglies and flowers, so it worked out perfectly. The other ones have some great shapes as well, and you can pick and choose whatever you want to make. And this cake, I actually really like this cake because I got to use all of the old colored fondant that I had that I didn't want to throw away, and you could always use it. I just didn't have a need for those exact colors. So for this one, I didn't need exact colors. I could make it whatever colors I wanted. So I used a lot of that fondant and it worked out great. I didn't have to color anything. I used some Tylose in the fondant so that it would dry a little bit faster and wouldn't be as stretchy. I lined the silicone mats with a small paintbrush and shortening and then rolled my fondant right into the shape. I let it sit there for a minute or two before cutting off the excess at the top. Then just take out your shapes, trying not to deform it. Make as many as you need in any shapes and colors that you want. I think it looks best if it's as symmetrical as possible. And then I just went at it. I didn't really have any rhyme or reason, I just had fun with it, but I tried to do the same thing on both sides. I then took some edible beads and pearls that I had lying around and just had fun with it. And when I say fun, I mean fun, because it was great. It actually took so long to do all the little beads around it that I really only did a few and then called it quits. For the bottom portion, I rolled out some black fondant into different sized balls and lined them around the bottom of the cake, and then topped it off with some blue and white gumballs. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you like this cake, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet seen my last week's video, click here to watch it. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel right over here. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know every time I release a new cake every week. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye!